Hi, welcome. I'm here to share about creating your own altar space in your room. Specifically, what I have is a space by my bureau, which I highly recommend because I have a mirror here. So I can always use it as a place to look at myself and connect with myself and the altar. This is especially great for anyone who's wanting to have a deeper connection with themselves, to come into a more loving relationship with themselves, to maybe connect more with their spirit guides or their ancestors. It's also an awesome way to create a altar specific to an intention, such as a manifestation of some sort. And this is something that I think it's beneficial to have in your space somewhere. So if you're sharing a room with someone or if you're sharing a home with someone, I highly recommend to advocate to have at least some space for yourself to connect with your sacred divine being, to be able to like process what comes at us through life and to continue coming back to your own personal healing. When I'm at my altar space, it's something that I'm able to, it's like an intimate moment I get to have with myself, that's also creative and uplifting and very, very special. For me, it's also something that really connects me with my inner child because I love playing with things, and there's little objects I usually have that remind me of what my inner child, my young Erica, used to love playing with or connecting with when I was little. And so what I have here is I'm going to guide you through at least what I'm going to do for my own space because I came back from traveling and this is a mess. So I used to have a specific setup with, also I moved, there's a jewelry box here and I decided to move it so I have more space for myself. Originally I had a bunch of different things, and now what I'm gonna do is first show you just clearing everything off and also talking a bit about different elements that I use in my own. The most important thing while creating or learning how to create sacred spaces, and specifically altars, is to practice listening to what feels right for you and your intuitive inner wisdom that exists. So it's a practice that once you start developing that relationship with your intuition, it'll become more strong and you'll be able to better hear what its guidance is. And sometimes we hear it, but we still don't listen. But I would just suggest to do what feels right and don't question yourself. For me, that's like a feeling in my body. So in my heart, I feels more like radiant with a certain idea of an action or an idea of an object to include. I usually select what objects I place in my altar space based on that feeling of like, okay, I have a bunch of stones I've collected from all over the world that called to me, that are very special and each have a unique vibration. And so depending on what my current circumstances are, my body and my spirit will be attracted to a certain vibration from each object that best supports me and where I am in my journey of life. If that makes sense. It's like puzzle pieces, so they're there to support you energetically. So every time I do it, it's very intuitive. And I've always noticed that there's a connection between what I am drawn to place in my altar space and what is also appearing in the rest of my life as something that I'm currently healing, focusing on, processing, confronting, or like moving through. So for example, one time I realized after I placed everything, I looked back and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of yellow. And so also looking at the colors that seem to come into your altar space will reflect back to you maybe an energy channel area of your chakra system that you are currently bringing extra focus to. So like I've been focusing a lot on my heart space to my root chakra, and all of them obviously, but like there's been a special focus on the sacral and the solar plexus for me. And so those colors oftentimes come up when I'm needing a bit of extra support to balance out that area of my body and my energy. Also, elements of earth is another thing that comes up for me. So like this I felt drawn to put on my altar from before, and this is very Piscean energy when you look at it. It was a drawing that my niece or nephew, I forgot which one, gave to me, and it was very special. But it's also, the lotus imagery was also coming to my reality in different ways, enough that it made me pay attention and see that this energy of lotus, this transformation of from the dark into the light and the enlightened, was very present for me in that time. So yeah. And then for me lately, what I've been seeing a lot come up in my life is a reflection of this water energy and this feminine flow that I'm surrendering into every layer. It's like letting go more and more of control and the out of balanced feminine, divine feminine. So there's that. This was a piece that my niece made for me, and honestly, like having my niece around has been one of the most healing things for myself and loving deeper my inner child. So this was a butterfly, and it's just so beautiful. She like grabbed a couple colored pencils, and then she paused and she pulled out all the colored pencils and just went at it, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing. So this is really was activating such a deep level of love in myself when I saw it. And also what I have on my bureau is a couple pictures of myself when I was little. So this is a really cute one of me when I was little. I'm this cute little princess. Reminds me I've always been a dancer. And then I also have this one, and this one also is taken place in Peru. So that helps me to feel more connected with my ancestral roots of Peru. What else do I have? This is something my niece gave me that it was over Christmas. There was a lot of challenge I was facing with like my heart and family, and it was just like such a beautiful gift. It's a prayer focused on the heart and asking to have a pure heart like unto a pearl. So for me, there's a lot of things about those words that were just like perfect. Like there's no words for why, but it was just perfect for everything I had been experiencing and everything that I was like working through. Okay, so I'm gonna put these down. I have another picture of me when I was little. I like this one because you can see that my hands are in the perfect receiving and giving position, because your left hand's like the receiving because it's the feminine side, and the right hand's the giving. So it's like, I thought it was so cute. So there's that. What else? I have something I wrote that was about, I forget what this was related to, but it's basically a 2020, like a New Year's resolution style stream of thoughts of like what it is I'm calling in. So I put that there so I can look at it every now and then. Okay, I always like to have some sort of form of candle, whether that's electric or real, something to signify light and fire. So that's another thing oftentimes I'm drawn to bring into my altar are elements of the earth. So water, fire, air, earth. And then we've got a hummingbird, which is a symbol for like luck, prosperity, but for me it's always been about love. And then also something that comes for me a lot, and you'll have your own experience of little treasures coming to you. But I've received a lot of feathers, so going on walks, I pick them up if I see them, because for me, I see it as a gift from the spirit realm, and also it represents air as one of the elements of the earth. Okay, and then this I got in Mexico, and I love it because it's like the harmony between the masculine and feminine. In Incan mythology, it's the moon is representative of the woman, or the feminine, divine feminine, and the sun of the male, or the divine masculine. And in this, they're like perfectly kind of like in a harmonized puzzle piece together into a circle. So I like that. Just other little things. I have a lot of this I've carried around because for me the eagle is like protection. This is adorable. And it's just my fairy energy coming out, and it just makes me so happy. The inner child again. What else do I have? This my mom said a friend gave to her, and I was holding it and felt really strong like love energy, so I keep this there. I feel a connection with ancestral roots in Africa, North Africa, and so in small ways that has been represented in my altar through things like animals. And then this came to me in Costa Rica, and it's a really beautiful gift from the ocean and from my spirit guides, and it's representative for me of an angel, and then it became more apparent it's representative of Virgin Mary, and it's my protector piece, and it's got this really cool flat bottom, so it sits perfectly. So I always have that there to like, a lot of these things are also protection. All right, and so we've got more feathers. I have a lot of feathers. If you have any special oils or like sprays that you like to use to help shift your energy, like I love putting on this rose body oil, and it really helps me to, if I'm feeling kind of heavy, it like lightens me up right away. And then also I've created like a lavender oil, and so that's helpful for my muscles. This is a special stone my mom found. Other special stone that came to me is just like when you feel really drawn to something, sometimes in specific pieces of earth, there's this like vibration that is, it's just like it was made for you. And then I usually have like some sort of Palo Santo or sage, and then a little dish for, you know, when I'm burning it. So there's that. I like to have the selenite stick because it helps me to have it as a resource to clear my energy in my energy field. This is a crystal that is like, it's like an air freshener, but for your energy field. So it usually does feel really good to hold it, to kind of like wave it around, especially after being outside or like interacting with people. So I'm gonna put this down. All right. So yeah, so I'm gonna do the rest of this. That's basically a good list of things that I've included that I usually have or I've had on my area. Another couple things that you can add that feel, if they feel, you know, right, is if you have any words or affirmations. So this one, it says, I am limitless. And this is one that I put on top of the picture of myself as a child, and so that when you visually see it, it's also reaffirming a new belief system and a new like approach to life that is more from a place of abundance and power and self-sovereignty, rather than sinking into the very easy mentality of like doubt and fear and victimhood. So I'm always needing a reminder that I am the creator of my life. All right. I have a couple other words here, and then matches for candles. But yeah, I'm gonna pause that here, and then I'll clean this off, and then I'll show you what I do next. Hi. Okay, so I've cleaned off the top of this bureau, and it's really important that it's clean because you want it to be like a clear surface and space. So I take, a cloth and just wipe it down. Sometimes I like to put cloths down here to have like a different color, or it's really all an intuitive process of what I place. But I wanted to show you that everywhere I go, and I've lived in a lot of different places, and a lot of places where I rent just a room, you can always have a space where you keep all of your supplies, I guess you could call it. So now I have a little bin. I'm excited for the day. I have like more of a beautiful setup. For now, this is really nice to have it all together. But I have things like a fan for like when I'm smudging a space. This I bought for an altar spaces. So over time, you may collect pieces that you feel really drawn to, that especially if you feel this like high vibrational feeling of like, it's like a high, or like a heart radiance, you know that that piece is going to be really supportive to you, and will bring something special to your altar. So in this, I have just a bunch of stones or shells I've collected from different places. Same thing here. I also have some incense, so that's helpful to help shift the energy of your room. So this is beyond the altar, and since it's great for room spaces. I also have more sage, and yeah, so this is my bin, but I'm not gonna actually do this tonight because something really important to be mindful of is that you're not forcing this, that it's a process that is happening in the divine timing of when it feels right. And if you're tired, or if you're doing it out of force, it's not gonna be as empowering, or it's just kind of like forcing something. And this is a very spiritual experience, so you definitely want to be doing it from a place of like, of this is now the time, like an inner knowing of when to start. And then the other thing I wanted to share is that this altar space can be like a safe space for you to come to, especially to like at the end of the day, maybe you make some readjustments, or you light a candle, something that helps you to like recenter with the energy of yourself, of your higher self, and your inner knowing that you're a creator. These empowering words and feelings that help you to navigate through the chaos that might be happening around you, especially when there's so many different influences around us of like ads, social media, family, friends, and all of their opinions. But what's really important to guide yourself through life is to have a space and a way to kind of clear it all out, to set it aside, and to just be like really connected with your own inner wisdom and your guidance coming from the spirit realm of guardians, animal totems, ancestors, gods, goddesses, different significant figures in history that have offered a lot of guidance for the world and the planet. And especially for me, it's like there's always an element of love and heart. So yeah, so this is a really special thing to do for yourself because of everything that I've shared, and it has been really transformative for me to do. And I go back to it, rearranging my altar space, when it feels like it's been in one spot for too long, like I'm constantly wiping it, cleaning some pieces, maybe rearranging to keep that energy fresh. And when you're making an altar, what you're essentially doing is creating like an energy portal that is going to like beam that frequency out into the space. And while you're sleeping, it's really supportive. There was one other thing I wanted to say. What was it? It was about changing it up. Oh, it's that I especially like notice myself doing this when I'm going through a big transition in life or transformation, anything where I'm like having to let go of something, or if there's like a moon cycle coming up that you are using the energy to support you through a transformation of some sort. This is really supportive to that too. All right, so I will see you when I am doing this, and yeah, we'll see when that happens, but it's gonna happen probably tomorrow. Here I am starting with setting an intention and opening the space, which I usually like to do with a candle. This time I have electric, or sometimes I do it with incense, or sometimes I do it with ringing the sound bowl, anything to help myself get centered and reconnect with my heart, take a deep breath, come back to some presence, set an intention, connect with my guides. Just setting the intention too is really all you need to do. And you'll feel a sense of inner balance and peace when you know you're ready and good to go. I'm going to be narrating little bits and pieces of what's going on in my head. Here I've been cleaning off different pieces. So like this photograph was dusty, so I cleaned that off. And I put that little I am limitless affirmation on the photograph. I like having photos there because it's covering up this old UVM school my grandpa went to. This bureau actually used to belong to my grandparents, or to my grandma, and she was dating my grandpa at the time, who was at UVM. So I like to cover it up just because it's this old picture, it's weird, but I cover it up with these other beautiful photographs. All right, so now I'm just kind of like reorganizing and trying to get some space open so that I can start laying things out. So in this bag, I felt drawn to it because it felt very high, like a high. So usually that when I feel that, I know there's something in there for me. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out all these pieces and I'm like kind of like, okay, is this it? Is that it? Maybe it's all of it. Sometimes the whole bag feels like it because it's been holding these high vibrational special pieces. And in this case, that kind of was what was going on. All the pieces at the bottom felt really good. You'll see me like kind of moving around this black, I always forget the name of it, but it's this black stone I use, and it helps absorb any negative energy. But because of that, I always am thoughtful of clearing the energy of it. And this is something you can think about with any of your pieces, is clearing the energy of it just with some sage, selenite stick, intention. Sometimes I just blow on it with the intention of clearing it, and that feels good for me. And here I'm deciding also between what shell do I want to use, because I want to replace the shell I've been using that's pretty worn. It's time for something new that holds my sage and Palo Santo. Okay, so I've already had a vision that I'm gonna use this yellow golden fabric as a base, and what happens while I'm in this process is I like see in my third eye a image of what's how to place something, or like what something can look like, and then I go with it. Sometimes you just fiddle around with how it goes, but that's usually how this works for me. So here I held those pieces, and then I got the inspired idea. It just like comes in like boom. To place them on the outside of the bureau on each corner, which is interesting because usually I've been placing them on the outside edge of my room in every corner. So that's pretty cool, a cool new change. And so here I'm just pulling out all the different shells that are inside this fabric and seeing if I want to use any of them. I basically know based on the feeling, so I really am feeling every time I pick a piece up. All right, so I also had a vision of this in the moment when I was picking up this cloth. I knew I wanted to use it because I wanted to play with the February Valentine's Day and focusing this altar on love and self-love. And I have some roses, so I knew I wanted to put that in there. So then I saw this image of a spiral, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can make this into a spiral. So I did that, and this, oh man, I can't remember the name of this black stone. I'm sure you know what it is, whoever's watching this. Anyways, it kept drawing to me. It felt really important to have it there, so I placed it there. All right, so this is my favorite part of this altar creation, one of my favorite parts. This is holding, and I didn't remember it in the moment until I opened it up, but a couple pieces of garnet that my grandma gave to me that she had chipped off of. She has like a knee replacement. She's living by herself. My grandpa passed away a couple years ago. Like she's still wild womaning it out there. She like took a rock and chipped off a couple pieces of garnet from a stone she had outside. I was like, oh my gosh, that's wild. But she gave it to me because she gave me these garnet earrings that my grandfather gave to her. And my grandfather's a very special person. So as I was opening up that paper, I felt a connection with my grandma and my grandpa. And in that moment, the sun came out. And so it was a really special moment to experience. And from that moment on, the sun came out, and you'll see in a few moments, I have a thing that creates rainbows, and you can see it starting to formulate now. The rainbows were everywhere. So I felt like that was a moment that something shifted in the process, and it was beautiful because it had been an overcast sky. So here you'll see I almost put the selenite stick there, but I heard in my head to actually place it on my bookshelf that you can't see. That's at the foot of my bed. Right, so now time to add the feathers. I already was feeling like the cloth I was using and the spiral felt heavy, and so I was like thinking the feathers could help. And what I realized is that the heaviness is very representative of the things that I'm releasing, and you'll see soon how this transforms. So I place the stones there temporarily, but then I take out this rose thinking I'm going to take out the petals and put them around. And as I'm opening it, I have a really special moment with this rose. I offer to the ancestors and to myself, to my past Erica, every wound, to every joy, to every sorrow. I offer to my guides and support team in the spirit realm this rose. While I was opening the rose, I felt a pull to say a prayer, just set an intention with the rose and connect with its potency as the highest vibrational flower. And I realized that holding this flower, that it was not the one to be taking the petals off, that it was perfect, and it was happy to be exactly as it was. So I realized I could place it in some water, put it in the center, and let it be there. And that's what's fun about this process, is things can shift, and you have to play around with it to see what works and what's best to leave out. So I took out the black stone and the other gray stone that I placed and put the rose in the center. And here I'm placing some rose petals from a different rose. And now I'm adding the feathers. And I felt drawn to put them into 4 different directions, representative of the different directions of the world. And I was really vibing because the rainbows were like cascading all over me. The sun was on my face, and it was feeling good. All of these feathers came from essentially a 1-mile radius around this specific house, which is really cool. It really shows like how I gather pieces is by being in communion and connection with the land around me and the nature and animals. All right, so I'm just, doing the last final adjustments, and otherwise this piece is complete. just admiring the moment. The petals of the roses were so beautiful. They were like this orangey pink sparkly thing. And then of course I was just vibing, so I had to dance. This piece I was humming and hawing about whether I'd add it, and I was like, you know what? I want it, so. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own experience making altars. And I hope you have an amazing, beautiful day and have fun in your new and improved and high vibing space that you create for yourself.